guess one of the main things that I feel when I reflect on 30 now, as opposed to how I thought of 30 in the past, is that it's a point I didn't want to reach. It's a point at some points in my life I didn't even think I was gonna reach. Reaching it now, all I see is possibility and potential. All I see is a brighter future, and all I see is the happiest decade of my life. And that's a really exciting feeling and place to be in.
This boy just passed his 30th birthday.
Yeah, yesterday.
我一直觉得30岁对我来说是一个很遥远的数字，是一个就很陌生的数字。我总感觉自己就是10几岁，20出头，但是我竟然也马上要30了。
I think most people when they think about 30, it is a big number for them, right?
因为30岁之后，你很难再自己告诉自己，我还是个小孩，我还年轻，我还年少。
Right. If you'd asked me 10 years ago what I would be doing now, there's no way I would have said I'd be living in Bangkok. I want to talk about being 30 because for me, it feels like every day up until my approach of being 30, it seemed like an old age. It seemed like, I don't know, some distant figure when I'd be like a real adult and things would be different in some way. But now that I'm 30 and I've reached this age, I feel young.
Whoa, what happened?
I don't know, something about the perspective, you know? I feel like my life really started when I was 18 years old. And when I look at it in those terms, it means that I've only been living my life for 12 years. And I say that because like when I was 18, I started making decisions for myself. I moved out of my parents' home. Every decision that I made, I had to make by myself after that point. Whereas before, everything had kind of been sorted for me by my parents, you know? So looking at it through that perspective, through that lens, I feel like I've only lived 12 years of life. Proper freedom, proper life. If I've only been living for 12 years, then I've got a lot more 12-year periods left in my life, hopefully. I mean, it's safe to assume that for most
至少还有4
people.
个12年。
I think at least 3, yeah, hopefully 4 or 5. But yeah, when you look at it like that, I've still got so much life ahead of me, and that just makes me feel incredibly young. And it just makes me see so much potential for the future.
所以今天我们要来分享一下我们关于30岁的一些感悟。
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so what about for you? Like, before you started approaching this age, you're not 30 yet, but before you started approaching this age, and now that you are approaching this age, is there like a difference in your mind between those years, what they mean to you?
20岁出头的时候，让我想到30岁这个年纪的这个数字，我会感觉到是一件很遥远的事情。首先，它代表着大人，代表着老去，代表着中年。我感觉这个不是我想要的，会有点抗拒，而且会有点就是庆幸啊，我才20岁，我还很年轻，没有考虑过自己也会终将30、40、50这样的一个现实。但是现在，我再有几个月我就要马上也30了，有一种感觉就是啊，已经30了，是吗？就会有这种很惊讶的感觉，我只能说非常非常惊讶。但是其实我没有很多的排斥的那种感觉。
其实我很期待我的 30s. I really think it's going to be the most exciting decade I've ever had.
Yeah, 你很期待，我是感觉没什么感觉。
When I look back on my 20s, I don't have the exact same feeling as you. I didn't see like a very exciting future ahead of me. At the start of my 20s, I was in like a really bad place, and I was still working out who I was, and I was still working out what the world was to me and what life meant to me, and I had so many questions and not many answers, whereas right now I feel like it's kind of the opposite. I've got a lot of answers to the hardest questions that I think a lot of people face in life. And I think knowing who I am really certainly and knowing answers to those hard questions just gives me a confidence that the future is going to be so much better than the past.
所以是因为你怀着一个很积极的心，然后你对你的生活很有确定感，然后就是很有希望感，所以可能这种积极性会让你感觉到你很年轻。
I think so.
对，很有活力。
Yeah, I think so. Well, I have a question for you then. How do you feel about your 20s compared to what you think your 30s is going to be like?
说实话，我20岁左右的时候就有一个印象，就是30岁的时候应该又是当妈了吧。对呀，我那个时候我的世界观，我的人生观就是很简单，可能都不是我自己的人生观、世界观，就是就是我从我的周围里面人能学到的，别人告诉我的，然后听别人说的，就把它当成是一个很正常的事情。我23可能大学毕业了，工作2年，那我30岁我不至少得有个孩子了吗？
But you don't.
但是现在我真的我没有好。
I guess getting to 30 and realizing that this is an age that a lot of people are scared of, I feel like it doesn't make me so scared of being older than 30, you know? like every day we get better at the things that we do. We get better at being who we are, as long as we're moving along in that direction. So if this trend continues, then who I am when I'm 40 should be even better than who I am now. It doesn't seem like there's so much to be scared of in getting older. You learn new ways to deal with the world and cope with stress and anxiety and all that bad stuff.
When you say better, you mean like happier
Yeah.
and stronger?
And there's something that I've been thinking about lately, which I think is also a really good way to look at growing old, which is like, as you get older, yeah, some doors will close to you. Obviously not when you're 30, like you can still do everything, but maybe when you're 50, you're 60, you start to not be as active, you start to not have the same amount of strength or endurance or whatever that you had before. But actually that gives you more time to do other things, and it motivates you to do those things because you suddenly have less options. So I think a really good example is you love like Kung Fu or something when you're younger. You get to a certain age and you can't perform at like peak fitness. You can no longer do Kung Fu. But maybe Tai Chi suddenly becomes really appealing to you. Maybe Tai Chi is the thing that is gonna, I don't know, sustain you in later life. And it never would have held that interest for you before because it just seemed like a boring, slow thing for old people. But when you are an old person, it's like awesome. There's gonna be lots of surprises like that later in life that it's like, wow, suddenly I found this like calling that I didn't even realize I had because I'm trying out new things that were never appealing to me when I was younger. I know that I'm looking forward to more time to read books when I get old. Do you think there's anything like that for you?
现在让我去想象我40岁生日的时候会是什么样子，其实我很难想象。但是我有一个幻想，就是有一个画面，就是我感觉到它应该是一个挺好的，就是 yeah everything is fine， 挺好的。我会感觉到我可能会变得就是更加的温柔，我会更加的有包容性，我会更加的善良。我可能没有会想自己会更加有钱，自己会更加的就是更加的漂亮美丽。我可能更想的是自己的内在会更加怎么样子。
Right, yeah, actually I wasn't thinking about outside appearance at all until you mentioned that.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that that doesn't even come onto our radar because I think for most people when they think about getting older, they do think about like getting wrinkles and getting gray hair and how terrible that's going to be, but I don't think it's that bad.
When you talk about wrinkle， 就是这个皱纹哈。今年就是前几个月过年的时候，我在跟家人视频，基本上每一个家庭成员看到我都说，这么多皱纹了，超凡。哦，你一笑怎么这么多皱纹呢？就是他们的第一反应就是关注我笑的时候我的皱纹，而不是关注我的笑容有多么的有感染力，有多么的开心。我有这种能力，就是不去受别人对我的外貌啊，或者是年纪啊这样的一个担心，或者是一个评价。
Right.
我觉得这个应该是有很多人恐惧变老的一个很大的原因吧，就是尤其是作为女人，
Yeah.
就是会认为容貌还有年纪是资本嘛。我觉得这个现象其实不光是国内，每个地方都有的。
Definitely.
我觉得我的皱纹就是我的礼物，我觉得它这么的真实的存在在我的脸上，我不用去逃避它。
It's like the rings on a tree, they expand as they get older, right? We also get features in us like scars and wrinkles and stuff that makes you be able to tell, yeah, this is an old tree, this is an old person.
Yeah.
It has wisdom inside it.
Yeah, I love my scar.
When people notice my extra gray hairs, like I'm getting more in my fringe now, like I feel like every gray hair has a drop of wisdom inside it. It's just a reflection of the experience that you have lived in life. It's nothing to worry about, it's just part of you, part of growing older, part of becoming a bigger tree.
Exactly.
If you are the kind of person who is worried about the way that you look, you feel like that's a big part of your self-confidence, your self-esteem, the way you value yourself, blah, 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 then there is going to become a point in your future where you have to face that, right? You're going to come head to head with that. And it's either going to be like, as you see these wrinkles coming or gray hairs coming, or it's going to be like further along the line because you deny that, you use beauty products, you dye your hair. But eventually there's going to come a time where you look in the mirror and you go, I'm old, I look old. And you're going to have to accept that. And the acceptance of that is going to be really powerful for you, I think, because like not worrying about those external things, the way you look, is really freeing.
安我觉得是一种漂亮，是一种美丽。如果我接受我自己的皱纹，我接受我自己的白头发，就是我自己享受我自己的这种状态，别人会看到你的那份力量，那份美丽的。
That's very true.
Yeah， 就是 very elegant. I accept everything. I'm not hiding. I'm not skipping.
Maybe think about it carefully. It's not something to be scared of. It's more something to look forward to. because every day is a chance to get better at something, right? Every day is a chance to improve yourself. And the more days you have to accumulate that wisdom and knowledge and experience, then the better at those things you're going to be, as long as you are actively doing those things. My message would be, if you're not doing those things, then why not? Why aren't you trying to improve your life? Because it's such a wasted opportunity.
我马上30了，对不对？和我同龄的，我认识的人，要么是已经结婚几年了，哎呀，我也结婚几年。我想说的是，成家立业嘛，就是有孩子、有事业，差不多什么都有。然后我会担心吗？我会也想要一个孩子吗？我会不会担心自己过了30之后要孩子会很困难？我会不会因为这个去匆匆忙忙的去跟你决定我们要孩子吧？现在，要不然我到时候不好生了，各种各样的担心，我有吗？我好像没有。我觉得这个是我的一个，就是用我自己的例子去作为一个信息。就是在一个正在经历30岁的女人还已婚未育的情况下，她的一个想法和状态是什么？我觉得我很舒服，我没有因为现在没有要孩子而焦虑。
Do you think that's what your 30s are to you? The time when maybe kids will come into the picture?
如果我们有孩子的话，肯定会在我40岁之前到来了已经。对。
I guess one of the main things that I feel when I reflect on 30 now, as opposed to how I thought of 30 in the past, is that it's a point I didn't want to reach. It's a point at some points in my life I didn't even think I was going to reach. And reaching it now, all I see is possibility and potential. All I see is a brighter future. And all I see is the happiest decade of my life. And that's a really exciting feeling and place to be in. And I hope that other people can feel that too when they look towards their future. Every moment is a chance for things to get better.
Yeah. 听到你这些话也会对我产生非常非常非常正向、很积极的影响，也会让我带动，会有跟你一样的想法，充满希望。
I want to hear about what you guys think of approaching 30, if you've been there already or if you're getting there in the future as well. So let us know down below. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about getting older. We need some bread for the ducks.